Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, March 14th, 2022. Today we're going to recap the weekend's college basketball, NBA, NHL, and Major League Soccer games, and look ahead to tonight's games in the NBA and the NHL. We'll look back on the Players' Championship and the NASCAR races from the weekend and do the best bet. But we got to start in news and notes because a bombshell broke from the one and only Tom Brady himself. He announced that he will be returning to play football, coming out of retirement, his brief retirement, and is returning to the Buccaneers. So a couple things to unpack here. First, I'm not surprised that Brady decided to unretire because in that second half of that comeback against the Rams, he didn't look done. And I don't think that Tom wanted his career to end in a home loss to the eventual Super Bowl champion Rams. But what surprised me is that he's returning to Tampa. I thought that potentially he was going to unretire and the Bucs were going to trade him to, say, San Francisco. Because San Francisco is a better roster than Tampa Bay at the moment, arguably. And Brady's I think that wanted to play on the West Coast at some point in his career, but the case against that is his family. So, gotta do that side of it. So, kind of wild, but at the same time, not wild. And he'll be playing football for the Buccaneers, and this is great for the Bucs because then they don't have to go out and acquire a quarterback via trade, unless if there was a Brady-Garoppolo thing where both the quarterbacks would be traded for each other and picks would go to Tampa, you would think. It'd be like Jimmy G and a second for Brady and a fourth or something like that. Could have been it. But Brady wants to stay in Tampa, and like I said, it's great for the Buccaneers, and now the Buccaneers are going to start to get their free agents back. Like Ryan Jansen was re-signed on a 3-year deal after this announcement was made. So they got their center back. Now does Ali Marpet come out of retirement? That's the next question, because I think he retired because Brady retired. So it's going to be interesting to see the ramifications from this. And good on A.J. Brown, who was the first to throw out the idea of, Brady's not retiring. And Jalen Ramsey tweeted that that he was happy that Tom Brady was returning. Something ironic is that Brady's, what we thought was his last touchdown pass, was auctioned for over $500,000 yesterday at an auction, which is wild. And then the other big thing that happened last night is that the Yankees traded away Gary Sanchez and Giovanni Urshela to the Minnesota Twins for Gary Sanchez. Sanchez and Urshela to Mini for Josh Donaldson, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and Ben Rotvet. I really don't love this deal for either side. I think that the Twins downgraded arguably a catcher from Mitch Garver to Gary Sanchez. But Sanchez still does have high upside offensively. His defense is why the Yankees got rid of him. And now the Yankees have a hole at catcher. Meanwhile, Urshela the Donaldson is an offensive upgrade short term. I don't think that Urshela is as good as a player as people think. Donaldson's been hurt a lot, but if he stays on the field, he's going to hit 30-plus homers potentially for the Yankees in 2022. Especially in that ballpark. And Kiner Falefa is kind of like Urshela in the sense of a defensive whiz, but a nothing offensive player. Or I should say like Urshela was before he came to New York. So maybe the Yankees feel that way about Kiner Falefa in the short term before Anthony Volpe is ready, who a lot of people seem to think is untouchable in a trade. The Yankees are making him out to be Derek Jeter, but never know these kinds of things. And now the Yanks got to get a catcher before the start of the season. They cannot go into the season as Rotvet and Higashioka as a catching platoon. You need to upgrade that if they are serious about contending. Their defense is better. Their infield defense is something they had to improve. They did that. But now they got to improve the catcher spot and replace the offense that Gary Sanchez leaves behind. And one other thing the Yanks got to do is bring in a left-handed hitting first baseman. It's either going to be bringing back Anthony Rizzo, acquiring Matt Olson from Oakland, or signing Freddie Freeman from Atlanta. My dream scenario obviously is the latter, but I think that the first option is the most realistic. I don't think that they're going to trade for Olson because I think Oakland wants Volpe, but the Yankees don't want to give up Volpe for Matt Olson, who's really good, don't get me wrong, power hitter, but I'd rather overpay Freddie Freeman than acquire Matt Olson. Freddie Freeman is just a better all-around player than Volpe. Or not Volpe, Olson. But yeah, he's better all-around than Volpe right now, too, because Volpe's never seen a pitch in the big leagues. And flip it to Minnesota side for a second. Like I said, they downgrade offensively at third base, but defensively you could argue is an upgrade, although Urshela's defense wasn't that good last year. And at catcher, they downgrade defensively, but still have offensive upside at that position. Also, the Twins did something else yesterday, was acquiring former New York Yankees starter Sonny Gray from the Cincinnati Reds. This trade was not surprising, really, in my opinion, because Cincinnati looks like they're blowing things up, and I think Minnesota wants to be better than they were a year ago. As they said, Chase Petty to Cincy as they get Gray and minor league pitcher Francis Peguero. I like that return for Cincy. Chase Petty was a first-round pick, and first-round pick pitchers could really pan out if you really hit it out of the park. And I like the thought of Sonny Gray in Target Field. Pitcher's ballpark. So I think that he'll actually pitch really well in Minnesota. Other baseball stuff. Diamondbacks signing Kennedy. 1-year deal. The Astros are pressing hard to bring back Carlos Correa. I always thought that he was going back to the Astros since the middle of the lockout. Pretty much since the Tigers signed Javier Baez. I thought that he was going back to Houston. Dodgers pursuing Jorge Soler. I like the thought of Soler with the Dodgers. Nelson Cruz signs I don't know if it's a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal with the Nats, which I really like for them. They needed a DH, and I think they want to be better. I really do. And they want to make Juan Soto happy. Carlos Martinez to the Giants. I think that's a good fit for their bullpen. Brad Boxberger back to Milwaukee, 1-year deal like that. Padres aggressively shopping Eric Hosmer and Will Myers. I mean, Eric Hosmer might be the Yankee first baseman, but I don't think they want to take on all that money. Jonathan VR turned down an offer from the Blue Jays, which is interesting. Rockies sign Alex Colombo to a 1-year deal. The Phillies sign Erases Familia. I don't know if I like that fit because he'd be going up against the Mets and all those good offenses in that division other than Miami, and you could argue even the Nats even with Nelson Cruz. Are the exceptions to that, but I don't know if I like that one. Josh Harrison to the White Sox, 1-year deal with a club option for 23. Don't mind that. Jose Iglesias, 1-year deal to the Rockies, so that means Trevor Story's not going back there. Phillies targeting Nicholas Castellanos. Makes sense. You put him at DH. Matt Chapman has a high price as the Phillies have interest in him, but Oakland wants top prospects in a trade package. Dodgers make an offer for Freddie Freeman. I think he's going back to Atlanta personally. Cubs sign in Drelton Simmons, but does not remove them from the Carlos Correa sweepstakes. So we'll see. Dodgers re-sign Clayton Kershaw. That was, I think, bound to happen. Like, you can't picture Clayton Kershaw pitching in another uniform. Seiya Suzuki market heats up. Mariners, Giants, Dodgers, Cubs, Red Sox in pursuit. Marlins and Padres want Brian Reynolds as they're hoping that the Pirates put him on the trade block. Rockies, Mariners, and Cardinals in on Albert Pujols. It'd be cool to see Pujols back in St. Louis. And the universal DH is a big part of that. The CBA allows for a second home run derby as a tiebreaker if the All-Star game goes the extra innings. That is sick. I love that idea. We talked about the Cubs signing and Drelton Simmons, but it doesn't remove them from the Correa sweepstakes. But the Cubs are poised to make a major role in courtship of Correa. CC Sabathia says on his R2C2 podcast with Ryan Rucco that Jeter is pissed at the Marlins. As he explained, the Marlins' lack of spending led to Jeter's exit. The Marlins are the Marlins. He's right. The Marlins are the Marlins, and that's why Jeter left. Yankees Miguel Andujar robbed, but appears to be safe as he was robbed at gunpoint in the DR. That's good that he's safe. And we'll see about his baseball future. But the irony, we talked about Kiner Falefa, the Kiner Falefa trade. So Mitch Garber goes to Texas, and Kiner Falefa and a prospect go to Mini. So they took on Kainer Falefa for the prospect, and they flipped Kainer Falefa for the Sanchez Giovanni Urshela combo. So yeah, Nelson Cruz was on a 2-year deal with the Nats. Joe Kelly, White Sox 2-year deal. We'll see how that works. Him facing the Astros is going to be fun. And Kershaw's only on a 1-year deal. Carlos Rodon to San Francisco, 2-year, $44 million. That's a lot for Carlos Rodon. A lot. Bryce Harper wants Chris Bryant in Philadelphia as he's stumping for the Phillies to sign his buddy, who has interest from a lot of teams, obviously. The Blue Jays signed Yusei Kikuchi, 3 years, $36 million. Good pitcher for the back end of their rotation, but I don't know if I love the fit of him in Toronto. Mets acquire Chris Bassett from the Athletics for 2 prospects, including former first-round pick JT Ginn. So, I like Chris Bassett on the Mets. He had a good year at Oakland last year, and he'll be a good add in the middle of the rotation for New York. Dave Roberts says Max Muncy to be ready for opening day, 85% after tearing his UCL. So hopefully he's back for opening day. And now other non-baseball stuff. Devontae Adams won't play on the franchise tag, as Packers and Adams are far apart on a long-term deal. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe they take away the franchise tag and then he goes and signs somewhere. Kirk Cousins, 1-year, $35 million extension to keep Cousins through 2023 with no trade clause. So, that's weird. He's been rumored in trade stuff, which is odd too. Dallas trades Amari Cooper to the Cleveland Browns, along with a 6th-round pick for a 2022 5th and a 6th. I think Cooper's worth more than that. Very surprising that Dallas got that compensation and that the Browns were able to give up that little. I like the fit for Cleveland. Meanwhile, for Dallas, I don't love that move, but trading Cooper allowed them to extend Michael Gallup on a 5-year deal, $62.5 million. Colts targeting Marcus Mariota. Kirk Cousins also an option if available, but he's not available. But you know who is available? Vikings defensive end Daniil Hunter, due to cap issues. Browns grant permission for Jarvis Landry to seek a trade with the acquisition of Amari Cooper. Chandler Jones, it's not about the money. He says scheme is huge. Bears release Eddie Goldman after failing to trade him. Cowboys contacted Bobby Wagner about reuniting with his old defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. That would be great if they were able to pick up Bobby Wagner. Bears cutting Tariq Cohen, as he's unable to pass physical yet, stemming from 2020 knee injury. A.J. Brown says Amari Cooper is worth more than that compensation. I agree. Bobby Wagner calls out Seahawks as they didn't tell him he was being released. Deshaun Watson won't face charges, but still faces civil suits. So now you're hearing his name going to popping up in trade talks again. Max Crosby signed a 4-year extension worth $99 million. That's awesome. I think that Crosby's really coming on as a football player. And it was also the anniversary of him getting sober. So that's pretty cool that he signed his extension on that anniversary. In Monster NFL news, Joe Buck to join Monday Night Football with Troy Aikman at ESPN. That's crazy. It's a big loss for Fox and a huge gain for ESPN. I believe Joe Buck will also become the voice of Sunday Night Baseball, too. Or he should be, I think. Because he's better than Carl Ravitch. He's better than Matt Fast Surgeon. So hopefully Joe Buck gets the Sunday Night Baseball role, too. Because he would be an upgrade over what they have. And he's called games with A-Rod before, but A-Rod is going to be doing his thing with Michael Kay on ESPN, too. So Michael Kay's involved in Sunday Night Baseball now. And they tried for Michael Kay to be the voice of Sunday Night Baseball. But he's doing the K-Rod thing with A-Rod, which is kind of, they want to mimic the Manning cast in a weird way and like have guests on and whatnot. So that would be cool. And we'll see if Joe Buck does Sunday Night Baseball or not. But I think this is huge for ESPN. ABC's getting the Super Bowl in a couple of years. And now what's next for Fox? It looks like Kevin Burkhardt would become the number one football guy at Fox. And Joe Davis, who I don't mind, but I just think that he isn't Joe Buck. That's my point. He's going to become the number one guy for baseball. So the Dodgers' regular play-by-play voice is going to be the voice of baseball for Fox. But if Joe Buck does baseball for ESPN, Joe Buck's still the voice of baseball. But now Joe Davis is going to be doing the World Series, unless if ABC acquires those rights down the road, which I think they're going to try to do now that they have Joe Buck. And I think they are going to eventually be airing the World Series. I think there's going to be a world where ABC is going to be having the Super Bowl, the World Series, the Stanley Cup Final, and the NBA Finals every year. That's what they're on pace to be doing, and that's what they should be doing. After having like these failed experiments going on in their broadcast booth on Monday Night Football and arguably on Sunday Night Baseball at times throughout the years. Trying to get through the rest of the news and notes very quickly. Stars extend Joe Pavelski 1 year, $5.5 million to stay in Dallas. The Calgary Flames want to keep Johnny Gaudreau. As the Calgary GM hopes to resign him, but won't say when. Army football player hospitalized after 6 people overdosed on fentanyl-laced cocaine in Florida. Yikes. Giants linebacker Blake Martinez takes pay cut of his scheduled $8.4 salary so they can clear up cap. Something cool happened over the weekend. Greg Popovich breaks the NBA wins record, passing Don Nelson for most regular season wins in NBA history. And then the players obviously bombed him with hugs, and rightfully so. And like I said, Pop's the GOAT. He's the best coach in NBA history, not Phil Jackson. Because I think Popovich did more with his teams than Phil Jackson did. Or like in terms of getting a lot out of his players. Because Phil had Kobe and Jordan. And the best player that Popovich has ever coached, you could argue either Tim Duncan or Kawhi Leonard. And as far as I'm concerned, is that Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan will go down as better players than those two guys. MJ for certain, Kobe, I think for certain too. Jacob Voracek annoyed with the NHL Department of Safety after they decided not to suspend Marcus Foligno. Gabriel Landeskog to miss time after having knee surgery but could return this year. They better have him back or else they're not winning the cup. College basketball news, Quanzo Martin out at Mizzou after 5 seasons. Will Wade out at LSU as they fired him after multiple level 1 violations, concealing violations, and unethical conduct, and more. Kevin Nickelberry will be the interim coach for the tournament. Kent State, so this cost them the MAC championship. 4 players got suspended for chanting F Akron in a diss track video posted to Snapchat. Yikes. Way to cost yourselves the MAC championship. Yale misspelled their title t-shirts, some may think, but did they really? Instead of the Yale Bulldogs, the Yale Bull Gods. Maybe they did that on purpose. And here's something wild. The Georgia Bulldogs are hiring Florida's Mike White for their head basketball coach vacancy. So I think it's a nice hire for Georgia, but Florida is now open. That's intriguing. There's going to be some big names in line for that job. So we'll see who replaces Mike White. Dick Vitale had some bracket takes, including Tennessee being underseeded as well as Iowa. I'm going to do a bracket special show tonight, and I'm going to reveal how I thought the bracket should have been and such, as well as some snubs. Alex Caruso will be coming back for the Bulls very soon. So that's good news for them. Brooke Lopez returning tonight against the Jazz for the first time since opening night, so that's really good news. Dylan Brooks out after 2 months from recovering the left ankle sprain. Bucks fear DeAndre Bembry may be done for the season after suffering a serious knee injury against the Warriors. Anthony Davis hoping for playoff return, so they better have him back. And Fernie Simmons out 1 to 2 weeks with a knee injury. That's a big loss for Portland. George Hill can also return this week for Milwaukee. Heat center Markieff Morris back, so that's good after missing 4+ months due to whiplash injury suffered in an altercation with Nikola Jokic. And Trevor Story drawing interest. Yankees, Astros, Cardinals, and the Guardians have all reached out. So the Yankees are still in the Story sweepstakes even after signing Kenneth Falefa. That's weird. And some non-sports news. Former President Barack Obama tests positive for COVID-19. But he tweeted that he's okay. And his wife, Michelle, and the former First Lady, tested negative. William Hurt passes away at the age of 71. Thoughts and prayers to his family and his peers. Rebel Wilson flips middle finger at Punton while hosting the BAFTAs. That's not that stunning to me. I'm sorry, it's just not. Barry Manilow tells 1010 Wins of New York that his long-awaited musical is the climax of a career. And Chris Cuomo was offered scarce plasma treatment in 2020 while his brother Andrew was the governor. So that's kind of wild. All this Chris Cuomo stuff coming out post his firing at CNN. All right, so that's it for news and notes. Now we're going to go to college basketball. We'll recap the games from last night and the rest of the weekend and look ahead. Actually, no. Won't look at anything today because there's nothing going on today. Friday. Big Ten quarterfinal, Indiana over number 16 Illinois, 65-63. SEC quarterfinal, Texas A&M over number 4 Auburn, 67-62. A10 quarterfinal, Davidson over Fordham, 74-56. CUSA semifinal, Louisiana Tech over North Texas, 42-36. American quarterfinal, 18 Houston over Cincinnati, 69-56. SEC quarterfinal, number 15 Arkansas over LSU, 79-67. Big Ten quarterfinal, number 24 Iowa over Rutgers, 84-74. A10 quarterfinal, St. Louis over St. Bonaventure, 57-56. CUSA semifinal, UAB over Middle Tennessee, 102-98 in triple overtime. American quarterfinal, Tulane over Temple, 69-60. SWAC semifinal, Texas Southern over Grambling, 73-54. MAC semifinal, Akron over Toledo, 70-62. SEC quarterfinal, number 9 Tennessee over Mississippi State, 72-59. Southland semifinal, A&M Corpus Christi over Nichols, 71-64. MEAC semifinal, Norfolk State over Morgan State, 72-63. Metro Atlantic semifinal, Monmouth over Rider, 72-68. A10 quarterfinal, Dayton over UMass, 75-72. Big East semifinal, Creighton over number 11 Providence, 85-58. Big 10 quarterfinal, Michigan State over number 12 Wisconsin, 69-63. Big 12 semifinal, number 6 Kansas over TCU, 75-62. ACC semifinal, number 7 Duke over Miami, 80-76. American quarterfinal, SMU over Tulsa, 83-58. MAC semifinal, Kent State over Ohio, 67-61. Big Sky semifinal, Montana State over Weber State, 69-66. MEAC semifinal, Coppin State over NC Central, 79-73. SEC quarterfinal, number 5 Kentucky over Vandy, 77-71. Southland semifinal, Southeast Louisiana over New Orleans, 74-65. Metro semifinal, St. Peter's over Quinnipiac, 64-52. A10 quarterfinal, Richmond over VCU, 75-64. Pac-12 semifinal, number 2 Arizona over Colorado, 82-72. Big East semifinal, number 8 Villanova over number 20 UConn, 63-60. Big 10 quarterfinal, number 9 Purdue over Penn State, 69-61. American quarterfinal, Memphis over UCF, 85-69. Big West semifinal, Long Beach State over UC Santa Barbara, 67-64. WAC semifinal, New Mexico State over Grand Canyon, 75-70. Big 12 semifinal, number 14 Texas Tech over Oklahoma, 56-55. ACC semifinal, Virginia Tech upsets number 25 North Carolina, 72-59. Mountain West semifinal, Boise State over Wyoming, 68-61. SWAC semifinal, Alcorn State over Alabama A&M, 65-64. Big Sky semifinal, Northern Colorado over Portland State, 86-79. Pac-12 semifinal, number 13 USL over number 21 USC, 69-59. Big West semifinal, Fullerton over Hawaii, 58-46. WAC semifinal, Abilene Christian over Seattle, 78-76. And Mountain West semifinal, San Diego State over number 23 Colorado State, 63-58. Saturday results. America East Final, Vermont over UMBC, 82-43. Ivy League semifinal, Princeton over Cornell, 77-73. SEC semifinal, Texas A&M over number 15 Arkansas, 82-64. Big 10 semifinal, number 24 Iowa over Indiana, 80-77. MEAC final, Norfolk State over Coppin State, 72-57. A10 semifinal, Davidson over St. Louis, 84-69. Ivy semifinal, Yale over Penn, 67-61. SEC semifinal, number 9 Tennessee over number 5 Kentucky, 69-62. American semifinal, number 18 Houston over Tulane, 86-66. A10 semifinal, Richmond over Dayton, 68-64. Big 10 semifinal, number 9 Purdue over Michigan, 75-70. Metro's championship, St. Peter's over Monmouth, 60-54. American semifinal, Memphis over SMU, 70-63. Big 12 final, number 6 Kansas over number 14 Texas Tech, 74-65. Mountain West final, Boise over San Diego State, 53-52. SWAC title game, Texas Southern over Alcorn State, 87-62. Big East final, number 8 Villanova over Creighton, 54-48. MAC final, Akron over Kent State, 75-55. Big Sky final, Montana State over Northern Colorado, 87-66. ACC final, Virginia Tech upsets number 7 Duke, 82-67. CUSA final, UAB over Louisiana Tech, 82-73. Pac-12 final, number 2 Arizona over number 13 UCLA, 84-76. Southland final, A&M Corpus Christi over Southeast Louisiana, 73-65. WAC final, New Mexico State over Abilene Christian, 66-52. And Big West final, Fullerton over Long Beach State, 72-71. And then Sunday, Ivy League final, Yale over Princeton, 66-64. SEC final, number 9 Tennessee over Texas A&M, 65-50. A10 final, Richmond over Davidson, 64-62. American final, number 18 Houston Memphis isn't ranked, 71-53. And Big Ten final, number 24 Iowa over number 9 Purdue, 75-66. All right, so there's college basketball from the weekend, and now we'll look back on the weekend's NBA games and look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. Or just the NBA, I should say. Friday, Magic over Timberwolves, 118-110. Hawks over Clippers, 112-106. Celtics over the Pistons, 114-103. Heat over the Cavs, 117-105. Mavs over the Rockets, 113-100. Grizz over the Knicks, 118-114. Hornets over the Pelicans, 142-120. Spurs over the Jets, 104-102. Raptors over the Suns, 117-112. And the Lakers over the Wizards, 122-109. Saturday, Timberwolves over the Heat, 113-104. Bulls over the Cavs, 101-91. Pacers over the Spurs, 119-108. Warriors over the Bucks, 122-109. Raptors over the Nuggets, 127-115. Jazz over the Kings, 134-125. And the Blazers over the Wizards, 127-118. Yesterday, Nets over the Knicks, 110-107. Clippers over the Pistons, 106-102. Mavs over the Celtics, 95-92. Sixers over the Magic, 116-114 in overtime. Hawks over the Pacers, 131-128. Pelicans over the Rockets, 130-105. Grizzlies over the Thunder, 125-118. And the Suns over the Lakers, 140-111. And tonight's slate, 7 o'clock, the Clippers and the Cavs. Projection, Cleveland, 7.25, total 219 and a fifth. And we got Cleveland by 6.5, total 210.5. I like the over. 7:30, Blazers Hawks. Projection, Hawks by whopping 22 3/4, total 229. And it's 13 and 233, laying the points with the Hawks. ESPN Nuggets Sixers. Projection, Sixers by 5, total 224 and 4/5. And it's 2.5 and 220. Over. 8 o'clock, Hornets Thunder. Projection, Hornets by 8 3/4, so 244 and 3/20. And it's 9 and 231.5 over. Timberwolves Spurs at 8:30. Projection, Timberwolves by 2.25, so 222 and 9/20. And it is 5.5 and 238. Under. 10 o'clock, Wizards Warriors. Projection, Warriors 9.5, total 225 and 17/20. And it's 12.5 and 225. Taking the Wizards in the points. Bulls Kings. Projection, Bulls 5.5, total 225 and 7/20. And it's 4.5 and 234.5. Under. 10 o'clock, ESPN Bucks Jazz. Projection, Jazz by 3, total 233 and 7/20. And it's Milwaukee by 1, total 235.5. I'm taking the Jazz plus the 1 and plus 110 to win outright. And the Raptors and the Lakers at 10:30. Projection, Raptors by 4, total 240 and 4/5. And it's 5 and 225. Over. OVER. All right, NHL. We'll recap the games from the weekend and look ahead to tonight's games. Gonna try to be quick here. Friday, Penguins over the Golden Knights 5-2. Blue Jackets over the Wild 3-2 in a shootout. Isles over the Jets 5-2, and the Caps over the Canucks 4-3 in overtime. Saturday, Blues over the Preds 7-4. Canes over the Flyers 3-1. Bruins over the Coyotes 3-2. Kraken over the Canadiens 4-3 in a shootout. Blackhawks over the Sens 6-3. Devils over the Ducks 2-1 in the shootout. Flames over the Red Wings 3-0. Rangers over the Stars 7-4. Sharks over the Kings 5-0. And the Oilers over the Lightning 4-1. Yesterday, Pens over the Hurricanes 4-2. Sabres over the Maple Leafs 5-2 in the Heritage Classic. from Tim Hortons Field in Ontario. Canadians over the Flyers 4-3 in overtime. Blue Jackets over the Golden Knights 6-4. Jets over the Blues 4-3 in OT. Preds over the Wild 6-2. Isles over the Ducks 4-3. Avs over the Flames 3-0. Lightning over the Canucks 2-1. And the Kings over the Panthers 3-2 in a shootout. Only one game tonight in the NHL. 7:30 on the NHL Network. You have the Coyotes and the Senators. That's a terrible game. Truly a terrible, terrible game. Senators minus 166 are down to minus 164. Coyotes plus 136. Over under 6. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Coyotes plus 1.5 is minus 194. Ottawa minus 1.5 is plus 156. I'm going to go over 6 at minus 115. Now we're going to look back on Major League Soccer results from the weekend. It was an interesting weekend in MLS. Weekend number 3. So, Saturday, NYCFC over Club Football Montreal 4-1. Columbus over Toronto 2-1. LAFC over Miami 2-0. Seattle over LA Galaxy 3-2. Houston over Vancouver 2-1. Chicago over DC United 2-0. Salt Lake over New England 3-2. Cincinnati over Orlando 2-1. Philadelphia over San Jose 2-0. Dallas over Nashville 2-0. Colorado over Kansas City 2-0. Portland over Austin 1-0. Sunday, Atlanta over Charlotte 2-1. And Minnesota over the Red Bulls 1-0. All right, now we'll look at the leaderboard for the Players' Championship. They had to postpone a day, if I'm not mistaken. As I don't recall what happened. It was bad weather that pushed it back. That's what I thought. All right, in first place right now with 9 under, Interbom Lahiri. Tied for second with 8 under, Hal Varner the third, Paul Casey, Taylor Hogue. Tied for fifth with 7 under, Sebastian Munoz, Sam Burns, and Doug Gim. Tied for 8th with 6 under, Cam Smith, Kevin Kisner, Daniel Berger. Tied for 11th with 5 under, Russell Knox, Tommy Fleetwood, Kevin Strillman, Evan Van Rooyen, Joel Dahman, Shane Lowry, Louis Oatzen, Keegan Bradley, Patton Kazir, Taylor Pendrith. Tied for 21st with 4 under, Kramer Hickok, Patrick Reed, Doc Redman, Abraham Answer, Francesco Molinari, Corey Connors, Tyrell Hatton, Keith Mitchell, Ryan Henley, Justin Thomas, and Brendan Steele. Tied for 32nd with 3 under, Walter Zalatoris, Sergio Garcia, Joaquin Neiman, Ian Poulter, and Hank Labodia. Tied for 37th with 2 under, John Rahm, Victor Hovland, Chasen Hadley, Jimmy Walker, Sep Straka, and Scott Stallings. Tied for 43rd with 1 under, Brian Harmon, Sanjay Im, Alex Naren, Dustin Johnson, Seamus Power, Adam Hadwin, and Brandon Grace. Tied for 50th at even, Adam Long, Sam Ryder, Peter Malnati, Scotty Scheffler, Jason Kokrak, Dylan McCarthy, Troy Merritt, and Max Homa. Now I'm going to go through notables. Tied for 58th with 1 over, Maverick Gadili, Kangu Lee, Pat Perez, Bryce Garnett, Lucas Herbert. Tied for 63rd with 2 over, Bryce Garnett, Bubba Watson. Tied for 65th with 3 over, Lucas Hodges, Aaron Weiss, Nate Watney, Michael Thompson. Tied for 69th with 5 over, Rory McIlroy and Dylan Fratelli. Among those cut, Charlie Hoffman, Patrick Rogers, Jonathan Vegas, Henrik Norlander, Chris Kirk, Sam Piercy, Jason Day, Cam Davis, Carlos Ortiz, Mark Leishman, Matt Kuchar, Richie Wierenski, Adam Scott, Lucas Glover, Matt Fitzpatrick, Cam Young, Adam Pond, Mackenzie Hughes, Taylor Gooch, Hudson Swafford, Colin Marico, CT, Chengson Pond, Justin Rose, Charles Schwartzel, Wyndham Clark, Mito Pereira, Webb Simpson, Matt Jones, Patrick Haley, Brock Stewart, Joseph Brumlett, Roger Sloan, Lucas Griffin, Gary Woodland, Adam Schenk, Bu Hostler, Tony Finau, Cam Champ, Brian Palmer, Kevin Tway, JJ Spawn, Jordan Spieth, Xander Schauffele, Kyle Stanley, Brant Snecker, Matt Wallace, Cam Triangle, Brendan Todd, Stuart Sink, Matt Wolf, Henry Higgs, Lee Westwood, Brooks Koepka, James Hahn, JT Potson, Zach Johnson, Matthew Neesmith, Brandon Hagee, Taylor Moore, Brendan Gay, Emiliano Grillo, Cesar V, and withdrawing Brett Horschel, Luke List, Saibu Kim, Danny Lee, among those withdrawing. All right, NASCAR time. I'm going to go over the results from the weekend. From Phoenix, we'll start with Xfinity this time. And your winner was Noah Gragson. Second, Brandon Jones. Third, Josh Berry. Fourth, Trevor Vane. Fifth, John Hunter Nemechek. Sixth, Ty Gibbs. Seventh, AJ Allmendinger. Eighth, Daniel Hemrick. Ninth, Landon Castle. 10th, Justin Allgaier. The rest: Ryan Sieg, Jeb Burton, Brandon Brown, Sheldon Creed, Brett Moffitt, Ryan Ellis, Austin Hill, Jeremy Clements, Alex Ladd, Bailey Curry, Stephon Parsons, Sam Meyer, Mason Massey, Myatt Snyder, J.J. Yaley, Nicholas Sanchez, Joe Graff Jr., Jade Buford, Ryan Vargas, Kyle Weatherman, David Starr, Kyle Sieg, Kaz Gralla, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Josh Williams, Parker Retzlaff, Anthony Alfredo, Riley Herbst. And now the results from the Cup Series at Phoenix. Winning the race, Chase Briscoe. First big win of his Cup career. Good for Chase Briscoe. I thought that he was going to be the breakout driver of the year, so that's a good start. Second, Ross Chasson. Third, Tyler Riddick. Fourth, Ryan Blaney. Fifth, Kurt Busch. Blaney was my pick coming in fourth. Kevin Harvick, 6th. Kyle Busch, 7th. Joey Logano in 8th. 9th, Daniel Suarez, 10th. Chris Boucher. The rest: Chase Elliott, Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Ty Dillon, Cole Custer, Justin Haley, William Byron, Todd Gilliland, AJ Allmendinger, AJ Dillon, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Chris Bell, Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Harrison Burton, Landon Castle, Cody Ware, Garrett Smithley, BJ McLeod, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., and Corey LaJoie. Alrighty, now I am going to do my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. I'm going to go with the over in the Laker game. I just think that even though they don't have Anthony Davis, they just are not good defensively. They give up over 120 a game easy. There's no significant injuries on the Raptors. And the reason why the Lakers' defense has been so bad is because Anthony Davis has been hurt. Best bet from Friday was the over in Richmond VCU, and that was a winner. So for tonight's best bet, I'm going to lay a unit on over 225 between the Raptors and the Lakers for my best bet of the day. So that's it for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to the first 4 games tomorrow, as well as the NIT. I'm going to do another show tonight to fill out my bracket, and maybe I'll do women's as well, so we'll see about that. So I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.